For years, Rush fans believed they had already witnessed the final chapter. Back in 2015, the legendary Canadian rock trio played what seemed to be their last tour. After decades of groundbreaking music, sold-out arenas, and some of the most technically demanding performances in rock history, Rush stepped away from the stage. Then, in 2020, the world was hit with heartbreaking news. Drummer and lyricist Neil Peart passed away after a battle with brain cancer. For many fans, that was the end. How could Rush continue without the man many considered the greatest drummer in rock history? Even Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson seemed to feel the same way. In interviews over the years, both musicians expressed how difficult it was to imagine Rush without Neil. The band had always been more than three musicians playing songs. It was a unique chemistry that had existed for decades. And yet, something unexpected began to happen. As the years passed, Geddy and Alex slowly found themselves reconnecting through music. What started as casual jams turned into something more meaningful. They weren't trying to replace Neil. They weren't trying to erase the past. Instead, they were discovering that the music they had created together still had a powerful pull on their lives. Then came the announcement that shocked the rock world. Rush would return to the stage in 2026 with the 50-something tour, celebrating more than 50 years of Rush music while honoring Neil Peart's legacy. It would be the first major Rush tour in over a decade. Fans immediately had questions. Why now? What changed? And perhaps the biggest question of all, who could possibly sit behind the drum kit? The answer would spark excitement, curiosity, and debate throughout the Rush community. Because whoever accepted that role would face one of the most intimidating challenges in rock music history. But before that drummer could be revealed, Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson had to make a decision that many thought they would never make. They had to decide whether Rush still had another chapter left to write. For years after Rush stopped touring, both Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson focused on separate projects. Fans continued to celebrate the band's incredible legacy, but few seriously expected a return to live performances. Then something interesting happened. Whenever Geddy and Alex appeared together at special events, the chemistry was still there. Whether it was charity performances, award ceremonies, or guest appearances, audiences could immediately feel the connection that had defined Rush for decades. One of the most talked about moments came when the pair reunited for tribute performances honoring music legends and supporting charitable causes. Fans watching these appearances noticed something important. Geddy and Alex weren't simply revisiting old memories. They genuinely seemed to enjoy playing together again. Behind the scenes, the conversations gradually changed. Instead of talking only about the past, they began discussing possibilities. What would it be like to perform Rush songs again? Could they celebrate the band's music without pretending that nothing had changed? Could they create an experience that honored Neil Peart while still moving forward? Those questions didn't have easy answers. Rush was never a band that made decisions based solely on nostalgia. Throughout their career, they built a reputation for artistic integrity. If they were going to return, it had to feel authentic. It had to have a purpose. According to interviews given by both musicians in recent years, they continued spending time together, writing, jamming, and exploring ideas without putting pressure on themselves to make any major announcements. The process was gradual rather than planned. What began as friendship slowly evolved into creative momentum. Meanwhile, fans were becoming increasingly vocal. Social media filled with discussions about whether Geddy and Alex might eventually perform more Rush music. Every public appearance generated headlines. Every interview was analyzed for clues. Every photograph of the two musicians together fueled new speculation. Still, one obstacle remained. Even if Geddy and Alex decided they wanted to celebrate Rush's music on stage again, there was the enormous challenge of recreating songs that depended on Neil Peart's extraordinary drumming. Rush's catalog contains some of the most complex arrangements in rock history. Finding a drummer wasn't just about technical skill. It was about respect. It was about understanding what Neil meant to the band, the fans, and the music itself. And as discussions about a possible 50-something tour gained momentum, a short list of remarkable drummers began to emerge. As rumors of a Rush return continued to spread, one question dominated every fan discussion. Who could possibly play Neil Peart's parts? It wasn't simply a matter of finding a talented drummer. Rush's music demands an extraordinary combination of technical precision, endurance, creativity, and musical intelligence. Songs like Tom Sawyer, YYZ, La Villa Strangiato, and 2112 have challenged drummers for generations. Even many professional musicians admit that performing an entire Rush concert is one of the toughest assignments in rock music. That reality narrowed the field quickly. Fans began suggesting some of the world's most respected drummers. Names appeared repeatedly in online discussions and interviews. Among them were musicians who had openly expressed admiration for Neil Peart throughout their careers. One name generated particularly strong interest: Duke. The celebrated drummer had often spoken about Neil's influence and possessed the technical abilities needed to handle Rush's demanding material. Another frequently mentioned candidate was Oz, a lifelong Rush fan whose knowledge of the band's catalog is legendary. And then there was a newer name that excited many fans. It earned international recognition through her innovative playing style, incredible technique, and growing reputation among elite musicians. Her performances impressed countless Rush fans who saw echoes of Neil's creativity while recognizing that she brought her own unique voice to the drums. But Geddy and Alex faced a challenge beyond choosing the most skilled player. They needed someone who understood the emotional weight of the role. Whoever joined them on stage would inevitably face comparisons to Neil Peart. Every fill, every solo, every song would be examined by passionate fans who had spent decades listening to the original recordings. That level of scrutiny could overwhelm even the most accomplished musician. According to both Geddy and Alex, any future performances would never be about replacing Neil. In multiple interviews, they emphasized that Neil was irreplaceable. Instead, the goal would be to celebrate the music they created together and share it with fans once again. That distinction mattered. The 50-something tour wasn't being envisioned as a reunion pretending the past never happened. It was becoming something different, a celebration of Rush's history, their friendship, and the music that continues to inspire generations. Yet, as exciting as the idea sounded, one final decision still remained.